Hello and welcome to my first history quiz video. The quiz has 20 questions. The first 10 are based on the OCR ancient history syllabus, particularly the Greek period study, and the second 10 questions are just general knowledge. So you write the questions down on a piece of paper and at the end I'll go through the answers and you can see how well you've done. Okay, so question 1. Name the Persian emperor who first conquered the Greek cities of Asia Minor. So question 1. Name the Persian emperor who first conquered the Greek cities of Asia Minor. Okay, moving on to question 2. Which Greek island did the Persians try to invade in 499 BC? That's question 2. Which Greek island did the Persians try to invade in 499 BC? Question 3. Name the rebellion of many Asiatic Greek cities against Persian rule that took place between 499 and 494 BC. Okay, so question 3, name the rebellion of many Asiatic Greek cities against Persian rule that took place between 499 and 494 BC. Question 4. Who commanded the Persian task force sent out against Greece in 492 BC? So question 4. Who commanded the Persian task force sent against Greece in 492 BC? Question 5. Why does Herodotus depict the expedition as a failure? So question 5. Why does Herodotus depict the expedition as a failure? Okay, moving on to question 6. Despite the failure of the expedition, the Persians did capture a wealthy island, but can you name it? Okay, so question 6. Despite the failure of the expedition, the Persians did capture a wealthy island. What was it called? Question 7. Name the symbolic tokens offered to the Persians by foreign states submitting to their rule. So what were the symbolic tokens offered to the Persians by foreign states submitting to their rule? And question 8. What term did those Greeks who refused to submit to Persian rule use to describe those who did? So question 8, what term did those Greeks who refused to submit to Persian rule use to describe those who did? Question 9. What was the response of the Athenians to the heralds sent to them by Darius? So what was the response of the Athenians to the heralds sent to them by the Persian emperor Darius? And it may be that you are already anticipating question 10. What was the response of the Spartans to the heralds sent to them by Darius? So question 9, the response of the Athenians, and question 10, the response of the Spartans to the heralds sent to them by Darius. Okay, so that's your first 10 questions. They're the Greek history questions. So that's round 1. And we'll move on to round 2, which is just general knowledge. Some of it's history, but a lot of it isn't. It's a bit of a mixture. Okay, so the general knowledge round begins. Question 11. Which actor links Narcos, Game of Thrones, and The Mandalorian? Okay, so question 11. Which actor links Narcos, Game of Thrones, and The Mandalorian? Question 12. What is the capital of Bolivia? So question 12. What is the capital of Bolivia? Okay, question 13. Who has captained the England rugby union team the most number of times? So who's captained the England rugby union team the most? Which player is that? Okay, question 4. Name Daniel Craig's first Bond film, and for a bonus point, the year in which it was released. Okay, so question 4, Daniel Craig's first Bond film, what was it called? And for a bonus point, what year was it released? Okay, question 5, which is the only US state that borders only one other US state? It's one of the 48 contiguous states, not Alaska, it's not Hawaii, they don't border anywhere, or any other state anyway. But one of the 48 states borders one state, but no others. Which is it? Okay, question 6, we have another ancient history question, but this time from the Roman side of the course. And the question is, which Thracian gladiator led a rebellion against Rome between 73 and 71 BC? So which Thracian gladiator led a rebellion against Rome between 73 and 71 BC? Okay, next question, question 17. Which of the following kinds of pasta means little worms in Italian? And this is multiple choice. So is it A, spaghetti, B, fiddlini, or C, vermicelli? So which of the following kinds of pasta means little worms in Italian? Is it A, spaghetti, B, fiddlini, or C, vermicelli? That was question 17. 18. Which mathematical symbol was the title of Ed Sheeran's debut album in 2011? So which mathematical symbol was the title of Ed Sheeran's first album released in 2011? That's question 18. Question 19, Shakespeare. Which character says the line, "A plague on both your houses," in Romeo and Juliet? So question 19, which character says the line, "A plague on both your houses," in Romeo and Juliet? And the last question today, question 20, who's the oldest man in the Bible? Who is the oldest man in the Bible? That's question 20. And that concludes the quiz questions. I'll give you a few seconds just to mull over any of your answers. You can, of course, pause the video and then I'll go through the answers, and you can give yourself a score, see how well you've done. Hopefully better on the history round than on the general knowledge round, but we shall see. Okay, so the answers. So question 1, name the Persian emperor who first conquered the Greek cities of Asia Minor. This was, of course, Cyrus the Great. Technically, he conquered the kingdom of Lydia, who had already conquered those Greek cities. The answer I'm looking for is Cyrus the Great. Question 2, the Greek island the Persians tried but failed to invade in 499 BC was the island of Naxos. So Naxos is the answer to question 2. Question 3, the rebellion of the Asiatic Greek cities against Persian rule that took place between 499 and 494 BC was, of course, the Ionian Revolt. So the Ionian Revolt is the answer to question 3. Question 4, the commander of the Persian task force sent against Greece in 492 BC was Mardonius. And question 5, Herodotus depicts the expedition as a failure because the Persian fleet was wrecked off Mount Athos and they returned to Asia in disgrace, according to Herodotus. Question 6, despite the supposed failure, the expedition, Herodotus does in fact record a number of successes, most notably the capture of the wealthy island of Thasos. So question 6, the wealthy island captured by the Persians in Mardonius' expedition of 492 was the island of Thasos. Question 7, the symbolic tokens offered to the Persians by foreign states submitting to their rule was earth and water. So earth and water was your sign of submission to the great king. Question 8, which term did those Greeks who refused to submit to Persia use to describe those who did? Well, they said they Medites. They'd gone over to the Medes, as they referred to the Persians. So Medites is the answer to question 8. Question 9, the response of the Athenians to those heralds sent demanding earth and water, sent by Darius, well, they were thrown into the pit like criminals, according to Herodotus. And question 10, the response of the Spartans to the heralds sent to them, they were pushed into a well. Okay, so that is the 10 ancient Greek history questions. I'll now move on to the second set of questions, the general knowledge round. Okay, so question 11. Which actor links Narcos, Game of Thrones and The Mandalorian? It's the Chilean-American actor Pedro Pascal, who plays Agent Javier Peña in Narcos, Oberyn Martell in Game of Thrones, and the title role in The Mandalorian. Question 12. The capital of Bolivia is La Paz. So La Paz, the capital of Bolivia. Question 13. The man who's captained the England Rugby Union team the most number of times is, of course, Will Carling, a record 59 times as captain. Question 4. The name of Daniel Craig's first Bond film was Casino Royale, and for a bonus point, the year it was released, and that was 2006. Question 5. The only US state that borders only one other US state is Maine. Maine borders New Hampshire and Canada, but no other US states. Alaska borders Canada, but no US states, and of course Hawaii is an island, so that's why those two are excluded. Question 6. The Thracian gladiator who led a rebellion against Rome between 73 and 71 BC was, of course, Spartacus. So Spartacus, the answer to question 16. Question 17. Which of the following kinds of pasta means little worms in Italian? Was it A, spaghetti, B, fettuccine, or C, vermicelli? It was C, vermicelli. Question 18. The mathematical symbol that was the title of Ed Sheeran's debut album in 2011 was plus. 19. The character who says the line, a plague on both your houses, in Romeo and Juliet is Mercutio. And final question, question 20. The oldest man in the Bible is Methuselah. Methuselah, your answer to question 20. So technically the quiz there is out of 21. How did you do? Add your scores up and see. And I will try and get a new video released next Monday. I am doing Tudor history and Russian history rounds as well, so there'll be so I'll do videos for each of those, although I will use the same general knowledge questions for those too. But therefore we've got options for all of my classes, whether you're doing ancient Greece, the Tudors, or 20th century Russia with me. There'll be a quiz uploaded each week for the rest of this term. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Bye.